Well, good evening, everyone. Chris and Tammy here. We are excited to share with you this evening. And as the call progress, folks are going to be showing up here. So thank you for coming in here. And tonight is actually a really, really important call. The topic of tonight is building belief around the opportunity. And Tammy, we want to talk about a lot of things that we are applying ourselves, and sometimes there are things that are not necessarily communicated. They might be communicated as we're mentoring one-on-one, as we're doing three-way calls, as we're following up with associates as after a call, or when we go and spend time with the Eric Worre millionaires and so forth. And we thought of creating a call this evening on that exact topic. And so thank you for joining in. Now, Tammy, before we begin, I know there's some trade shows that are going on. Did you want to talk about that briefly?
Well, we had a discussion this morning for the 7 a.m.ers about the Can Pro event, Can Fit. Is that what it's called? Can Fit Pro event. And we've done it a few times in the past for years in a row and had great success. It's an event that runs for 2 days. It's in Toronto. And if it's something that interests you to be part of, it is August 12th to the 14th, 12th and 13th, I believe. And yeah, so you can get a hold of myself. Erica is the one that checked it out and mentioned it. And Mide, Erica, and Janet so far, we're discussing about being part of it. So if any of you want to be part of the show, and again, it's really important for us to get out there and deliver the message, get out there belly to belly with people. And what better way than being part of a show, being behind the booth, connecting people with people who are showing up at your booth, but also, connecting with people in the show itself. So there's a lot of opportunity to capture connections, leads with a follow-up, and to help grow your business. So that's one event that's coming up that was mentioned today at the 7 a.m. event, at the accountability session. So start looking out for things that are in your areas as well. I know I saw Janet do something, was it this weekend? She had a booth and she was doing it with Denise. So social media is fantastic because sometimes we don't know that people are doing something and then all of a sudden stuff is out there. There's going to be a lot of African stuff that comes up for events, trade shows, like stuff like that, festivals, Spanish festivals, all kinds of festivals will be coming up. Start searching in your local market for things that are out there where you could grab a booth and just get yourself out there. I know that the Max Beauty line in Canada, in the US, there's plenty of the Max Beauty line in inventory, because I did ask to see where we were at with that in the North American market. And John Winterholler and I spoke, and he said, well, what do you think about doing a promotion around the beauty line? I said, well, we'll just talk with the girls and see what they think, because if we're gonna focus on it and do a little bit of that, I think it would be awesome. I know I have my kit, and I'm going to get my kit back out again for those of you who bought your premier packs, because quite a few of us did that. It was like 3 months before the pandemic hit, and then there was nothing we can do. So now is an opportunity to meet with some people one-on-one or very small groups, and start getting that out there and leveraging different ways of bringing Max to the world. Because one of the things that I found, I know we weren't going this way, Chris, but I want everybody to know, most of the people on this session are women right now. And one of the things that I did notice when I was doing my own in-homes here is we signed up every single person that came and tried on makeup. Everybody signed up. And, auto ship is obviously an auto order. Makeup is not something that you're going to automatically order every month. That's when you can start introducing them to the nutritionals And we gave out shooters of ATP infused, and we were having just a lot of fun. So it's just another way of bringing Max to people. So it's
Now
something you can think of.
yeah, and the other thing, thanks, Tammy, the other thing that's important to mention is we're going through what we call the 13 weeks, which is really a 90-day Saturday event that are going on. And some of you maybe are considering one of those Saturdays, maybe you're not. It's really up to you. But one thing I'm going to post right now, and by the way, all of you on Facebook Live, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. And if you have any feedback or comment, I will go back and respond as you are requesting them. Okay, so thank you for joining in. Really appreciate you. Why am I saying this? Because I just posted a link, and the link is a form that you fill in, and all the dates are there, which is either the Saturday or the Sunday. If you request something on a different date, just send it to me privately, and I will make sure that your event is added on there. Okay. This is really, really important. One thing that Eric, where he was talking about at event multiple times in some of our leadership event, is 2.5 years we've been confined, and people got very comfortable staying home, and it's not obvious to get people out. And these kind of events will start. And in North America, what I really recommend is in homes, organizing in homes. And you can organize one, you can book it in, you can start with an event, follow up with a Saturday, with a training following up. If you only have guests, don't do a 2-hour training. It should be like a half hour, 45 minutes, kind of onboarding, getting started. If you're dealing with associates, then I suggest that you get into some of the gritty details of understanding the compensation plan, the logic of the compensation plan. Because if you understand it, then it's a lot easier for you to share the big picture. It's a lot easier for you to share the vision. And we'll talk about that a little bit today over and above the mindset. But this is a form that I really recommend for you to access. If you happen to be on Facebook Live here, I will make it available, and I'll post it in once the video is done, so you will have access to it. Okay. Now, you're probably realizing that there's a lot of events that are happening right now around the globe. And folks, what's very important is you need to participate, right? Don't just stay on the sideline, participate, pick one, right? If it's one for the 90 days, that's awesome. If right now, every one of you do just pick one, it will have an impact across Canada and the United States. So I really recommend. I know some of you are gearing for it, and when you fill in that form, it'll populate the calendar, and that way we know what's going on. Over and above that,
no, success loves speed, right? So if you want to go into any type of momentum, if you do one event in 90 days, most likely you're not going to hit some great momentum. I'm just going to be honest. We've been in this industry for a long time. And if you want to drive momentum, you need to jump in and do something for 90 days to start to build that up. I know it's never comfortable to step out of our comfort zone in that way. But if you're serious and you do want to build an income with Max, it's something that we do in our profession.
Absolutely. And by the way, I wanted to welcome those of you from Cebu and from Sierra Leone. This is wonderful. Thank you for joining in. Really appreciate you. This is what I love about our business is we are a global entity and we're expanding. And this is something that's really important to understand. And I know that many of us are thinking that we have wonderful products, and that is a fact. And we have great science, that is a fact. But we're not in the business of selling products. We're in a business of creating networks. And within that network, it doesn't matter what we have, we distribute the products with it. It just happened that we have extremely credible scientific-based product. And that's what makes us extremely special. So we're very, very, very fortunate to have what we have to offer. And when you have a posture, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as we go through the call, you could have a very, very impactful, let me rephrase that. You will be very impactful to others. And this is what it is. It's all about the posture, the way you posture yourself. So what's really important here is we want to get into some of the mindset as to why some folks may not be that comfortable with the compensation plan compensation plan aspect. I have to say it slower. And so we want to help you kind of recognize some of those areas that may prevent you from crossing that line. And that's really what the call is all about today, is building belief around the opportunity, but it starts with the mindset. And there's really 4 things to face your fear that we want to talk about. See, one thing that's really important, and this is an absolute fact, and I recognize that, Tammy and I have recognized that, is when the reward is strong enough, your fears will never be great enough. In other words, if your goals, your dreams, the things that you really believe in are strong enough and high enough, it doesn't matter the fear you face. I'm telling you, you'll embrace your fear to do it. And this is why we often share, work on your dream board, work on what matters to you. And most of us, we get started, we want to make money, but we don't have that environment, or we're not aware of that environment that will keep us grounded. I think many of you have that, but to be able to cross the line, to be less shy, to overcome the fear and embrace your fear in talking about the business, what you need to do is maybe revise what your goals are and what you use as a foundation as a reasoning to build your business.
That is so true. I mean, as you're speaking it, Chris, I always think of the journey when we talk about stuff, and in the beginning. And I remember at the beginning, I didn't have a big vision where this could go. And I was focused on more of what other people would think, right? Because it's a totally different profession coming from a traditional business. And then I just made a decision. I just wanted to be home with my kids. And really, that's what it was all about at the beginning. I had no big visions or goals or having this and having that. I'm talking really when I was new. And, but that, it might seem small for somebody, but that was huge for me, because I was always away from my home, always. And when you drop off the kids at the daycare and they're crying and you're crying in the car going to work, and you just feel like crap, right? So I had a huge desire. That's what kept me focused on what I needed to do on a daily basis. And I didn't think of all the things what people thought of me, and all the fears that would come up, the hurdles that would come up, because I had such a true passion to make this happen. So you got to really know what it is. It might be a material thing. It may not be a material thing. So everybody has, what's inside, what drives you every single day. And when you focus on that, then you won't have time to think of the other things that are around. And all these no's are great. This is the way we see it today, obviously, but maybe not when you're new. But no's are great, because you can put them on that maybe list when a promo comes up, right? And you just gotta focus on who is interested, and you never get caught up. The thing is, don't get caught up in the other stuff of why they're saying no. You got to know why they're saying no. Like, it's okay to build a relationship, but don't get caught up in all of this stuff. Put them on the maybe list. Contact them later. But if you focus on exactly what you want and moving forward, all this stuff filters out really fast. I'm telling you, it really does. But you got to do it regularly to understand what we're saying.
Now, out of the 4 things to face your fear, so that was number 1. Number 2 is, failure is part of your success. And so don't be afraid to fail, folks. This is really important. And I know, especially countries like Canada and United States, we have such a kind of a high standard based on our education and based on how we're being perceived in our society. And I'm not saying that other countries don't care. Trust me, everybody do care. But I find that there's too much emphasis on that. failure, don't fear it. Don't fear the failure. It's part of the process. In fact, the opportunity to fail is actually a blessing. I have learned more from my failures than my successes, because my successes, I tend to become complacent. Oh, I know what's going on. Oh, I'm good. I'm doing well. But when I fail, I want to fix this. I want to evolve. I want to learn. I don't want to repeat the same problem or the same mistake. So failure is a blessing, folks. But if you don't try, or if you don't attempt, and you don't get out that comfort zone in fear of someone making you feel uncomfortable, unfortunately, you're never going to learn. You're never going to evolve. You're never going to grow. You're going to stay exactly the same. And decades are going to pass by and nothing's going to change. So it's important that you embrace the failures, because the failures are a blessing. You learn more from your failures from our success. And so I'll turn this over to you. What are your thoughts, Tammy?
Oh, I've fallen so many times. I mean, you just get back up. And again, it's all about your vision, what you see, what you want to do, what matters to you, and you'll move forward. And you're going to fall for sure. But then your vision is so big, and in your heart, you just get this feeling inside. You're going to know when you know what it is. Some of you may have not figured this out yet, but you're going to know when you know what this is, because it'll get you emotional. And that's when you go into those deeper levels if you're not there yet. There's a great training by Dean, what's his name, Graziosi, about the
Graziosi, that's correct.
7 levels deep. That is a great training to go through, because you get deeper into the why and the emotion and what is triggering for you to want this so badly in your life. And
So
I'm telling you, once you do that, you will fight all that, everything that's around in a way, in a good way, of course. And you'll get to where you want to go. You will.
I agree.
As long as you keep moving forward.
Yeah. And number 3, very important, is the fear of staying the same has to outweigh the fear of change. There's one thing, folks, I'll come clean. My worst fear is to be exactly the same and not evolving. This is bad for business, especially if we keep evolving. And we have associates who's been with us for decades, and new associates coming in, and younger generations coming in with new ideas and new habits and new technology and all this know-how. I was actually scared of not evolving and staying the same. So that's why number 3 is you have to have the fear of staying the same has to outweigh the fear of change. Change is important. As much as I really despise the pandemic years, at the end of the day, it has forced me to do things that I normally would never want to do, like at all whatsoever. But as you get into it, it becomes part of the process and it becomes normal. And that's a new normal. So the fact here is it's important to be aware of that, right? Is be conscious that if you don't evolve and you don't change, well, things are going to change around you. And if you don't evolve with the changes, you're just going to be left behind. And that is an ultimate truth. So that was number 3. So the fear of staying the same has to outweigh the fear of change. Go ahead, Tammy.
Hey, that's a fear in itself, being left behind. Nobody wants to be left behind, and nobody wants to leave anybody behind. And I think that's probably the biggest reason why Chris and I continue doing what we're doing is, we don't want to leave anybody behind. We're always trying to evolve ourselves so that we can show others how to do it, because not everybody leads. Most people are going to follow, but in our profession, you're not looking to build followers. You're looking to find and develop leadership. This is what
Agreed.
You're looking for in network marketing. You want to find the strengths in people and develop them and help them pass some of those fears. Beth, I'm going to pick on you a little bit because I've seen you evolve tremendously in the last, 6 months. Sylvie, you're doing things that you would never have done. Let's all face it, we're all evolving. right? In this whole platform. And it's great to see, but it takes a leader to lead, to make this stuff happen. So I encourage all of you to lead your people, lead them.
And Tammy, I want to
Because
add,
they have
I mean,
skills. Yeah.
it's because I've been following Linda and Bill, their presentation,
Oh,
and
I know.
the way they're comfortable and the way they project themselves in presenting. It's wonderful. Janet, I'm listening to your videos, and I remember the first one you did. You know, it's beautiful and wonderful to see how you're all evolving. It's truly amazing.
Yeah.
And number 4 is that, and here's the thing that's important, is that you will never lose if you always find a way to create the win. See, that's the thing is, folks, I can write a book on failure. Oh, just a minute. We did write a book on failure.
On failure.
We did write a book. But that's the thing is, you never lose. Yeah. And folks, I'm telling you, if you count the amount of failures and the challenges we've been facing, I mean, most people would have quit. But here we are, crowns, and living in two countries and traveling the world and just having so much fun. And I mean, let's face it, it's not just fun. Sometimes it's a lot of work and adjustments, let's face it. But the fact here is that sometimes people look at failures and unfortunately keep counting on the failures. But if you look at baseball, right, you strike 3 times out of 10 and you could be a multi-millionaire and you could be a superhero, right? And you failed 7 times. So, I mean, see, that's the fact, folks, is that we have this illusion. Yeah, we have this illusion that failure is a problem. No, failure is a blessing. It's a blessing for you to learn to evolve to the next level. So what Tammy and I want to do is we want to go back and forth, and we want to talk a bit about a quotes of Dean Graziosi. I have to say his name slowly. And he's such a brilliant guy, and he shares a lot of really good wisdom when it comes to mindset. Because, folks, at the end of the day, to build belief around the opportunity, it's not just about learning the comp plan. Because I think that most of you know enough to stimulate someone on the possibilities of the future by understanding the comp plan. It's more how you posture yourself in front of the information, which goes back down to your belief. And number 1 is lack of confidence makes us focus on the safe things and the small things. Let me repeat this because this is important. Lack of confidence makes us focus on the safe things and the small things. The things that are easy to sell, the things that are easy to talk about. And we tend to veer away from the things that we're not confident, which is often the opportunity, the money aspect. It's really interesting. We get more people on a call if we're going to have a product symposium or a product knowledge, which will not bring much income, but knowledge, compared to talking about the opportunity and training on how to present effectively or how to actually convert people more, to increase your volume, to increase your paycheck. We get less people, but that's what people want. They want more income. They want more opportunity. They want more success. But the reason why they often don't show up is lack of confidence in a particular area. So think about this in the way that you build your business. What are your thoughts, Tammy?
As you're speaking, I'm just thinking about the beginning, right? I remember coming from a traditional business background, and when everybody knew that I was opening up a boutique, they were all cheering me on. And then the moment I joined network marketing and passionate about the opportunity, once I got to understand it, everybody was like, shying away. It's crazy that the mindset is like that around that. But you know what? Despite all of that, you guys, I want to share this with you. Despite all of those no's, we reached the top level and we've helped others reach the top level. You know why? Because we didn't focus on this stuff. We focused on other people's goals and dreams. we focused on who was hungry enough to make a difference in other people's lives, people who want to help other people with their health and their financial situation. At the end of the day, everybody wants great health. Would you agree with me? Throw a heart out there if you agree. Everybody wants great health. In general. They're going to say yes anyways, and then they're going to go eat a bag of chips and watch a movie, right? But everybody wants great health. But why is it that most people won't invest in a supplement, won't invest in something like that? Money. Pocketitis is the biggest disease out there. No money. Because I can tell you, if people have money, they have no problem buying 3, 4, 5 products. Would you agree? People who have money, are they buying 2, 3, 4 products every month? Absolutely, because they can. And I think that's the biggest thing in network marketing is people are so afraid to talk about the opportunity, but the opportunity is going to bring them the income that they can consume our products. Chris and I consume all of our products. Why? Because we can. Because we can. Why? Because we went out there and promoted opportunity, 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 building networks, building networks, building networks. And that's what we've done. Can you feel my passion right now around this? So when your passion is strong enough around the opportunity, then people will buy into your belief and your passion and your posture. They will, until they have their own. And that's always the way it is in network marketing, because people don't have that belief at the beginning about your product, about the opportunity. But I'm telling you, when you come out there this way, in a caring way, then people will buy into you. As we always say, people will buy you first before they'll buy any product, anything out there. I don't care if it's on social media. They're watching some things about you. They start to get to like you. Then they're going to respond to one of your posts or reel or story or whatever.
You know, and that's absolutely correct, Tammy. And we let the little things all the time get in the way of the big things. And it just kind of blows my mind where, and it's good for you to be aware of this, especially if you're presenting the opportunity, where some folks are going to nickel and dime the opportunity, and because they don't see the value. But in the other hand, it will turn around and buy themselves a 70, 60, 80-inch TV that costs them, I don't know, $2,500, $3,000, $1,500, whatever the model they have, without even thinking about it, right? So the point here is you'll recognize that. And when you recognize that, when I recognize that, what I do is I'm not going to make them feel bad for something like that. What I want them to do is I want them to understand, do you understand that with that small investment, you don't need to come big. I recommend you take this package, but if this is too much, I recommend you start with this package, which is more conservative. And if you focus on the activities and the training and the information we'll share with you for you to build this kind of business, you can buy 100 of those TVs later on. And we're not talking 10 years from now. So it's just, I'm just using a quick example here, but it's the way to paint the picture images when you talk to people about this opportunity. And by having this conversation, I understand what their goals are, what they want to do, what they want to achieve. A lot of time, they're going to reveal a lot of great information that if you took note, either mental note or you wrote down as they were sharing, which is a good thing, because then you realize that you're obviously concentrating on what they're telling you, right? And then from there, when it goes back to, well, this is now we're talking about the conversion to get started, then you can go back to those things. So when they nickel and dime the opportunity to get started, well, you go back to their goals and you make this analogy and you make them understand the big picture. And often this is how you're going to convert. Very, very important. And often it's just the nature of the beast. People will let the little things get away and the big things because they can't see themselves owning these things. They can't see themselves being in that particular position to have the success. So, the next level of your life is on the other side of this thing called fear. This is really important that you get that. And if you want to be successful in this business, folks, and you can all be, we see it all the time. If I may just make a quick analogy here. In North America, there was a certain philosophy on how they wanted to build a business. And some of the corporate members had the philosophy to teach people in a certain way. And they were listening to folks that barely have reached the bronze and silver level, and they make decisions for the North American market. Where I turn around and says, I've been in this business for a long time. I don't think this is the right approach. So we went to Africa and we say, we're going to lead this team the way we see will grow so they can really benefit, because we know if they don't earn an income, they can't afford the products. So we need to make sure they earn an income. So we led with the opportunity. And trust me, they are really, really well informed and educated on the products and the science and the symposium. Everything has been there, just like North America. But the focus is on the opportunity. And the product is our spine, is the byproduct. So the mindset is a bit different. So all of you that are thinking, oh, I got to build in Africa. Oh, I got to build in Kenya. Well, yeah, of course, it's a great opportunity. But do you understand that Canada and the United States are some of the most powerful countries in the world financially? Yes, we're in a tough situation economically, but hey, I go to the store and it's packed. I go to the restaurants and it's packed. I just downstairs, I'm looking at all the cars. Tammy and I were training this morning. We finally came back into our routine, and I'm looking at Mercedes, BMWs, and I don't know all the makes, but the fancy cars. I mean, one after the other. People have money. They do have money. But what is your mindset around money? You don't need to go across the world to build a business. You could be very successful right here from your backyard. But if you're in your mindset, you think that people are not going to be interested, unfortunately, you tend to attract what you think about, what you focus on. Mm-hmm. So the fact here, folks, is get over the fears. Get over the fears, because on the other side of fear, it is just a beautiful world, wonderful world. So the thing is that you need to build your confidence and do more of the things that will build your confidence. Read books to understand the philosophy of success and the philosophy of overcoming fear and all of these things, and evolve. I'm telling you, by doing these things, it's going to shift your mind. And when you talk about what you already know, when it comes to the opportunity, you are a different person with a different posture. So when someone comes in super negative, it's like just a drop of water that just slide right here. And it's nothing more than that, because you know that it's an education process and they just need to be educated. You don't need to get frustrated, or you don't need to fear what they may throw at you, but you know better because of your education, based on what you've read and what you've seen and what you've listened to. So it's all in the posture. One thing that's important, and I'll pass it over to you, Tammy, here, is the bad advice environment. I mean, we're surrounded by that. I mean, if you go to Ottawa, for example, wonderful city. It's a government city. And there are people that are working just 9 to 5. That's the mindset. They're looking towards their pension, and it's all, it's an environment, very limited income, right? And the fact here is you will have resistance. But if you educate yourself on the possibilities and what you're capable of, just by shifting your mindset, by saying the right things, and that will come by by screwing up, by making mistakes, by people turning you outright no. But there will be some that you might be able to reach. And these are the ones that will grow with you. So stay away from the negative relatives. They're not interested, move on. Trust me, we're surrounded by them. It's everywhere. In fact, I don't think that our government like, maybe I shouldn't be too political. They like people under control that are following the lines, that are doing exactly what they're being told to do. Because that's an environment you can control. They know what kind of income's coming in. They know what's going on. But an entrepreneur is in a different ballgame. And that's what network marketing brings. It breaks free from the environment that keeps us locked in. So back to you, Tammy.
It's so true. And that's probably why I've always been entrepreneurial. I can't remember the last time I've ever had a job. And because I saw my father as an entrepreneur, and he worked when he felt like it. He did the contracts he felt like doing. And I saw that lifestyle. So I didn't want to go work a job and do what other people told me what to do. I saw what my dad did, and I'm like, I just got to be creative. And I did a lot of stuff with my hands, as most of you know, as a swimsuit designer. I did all kinds of stuff, designing sweaters, logos, branding logos, all kinds of stuff like that. But it was interesting because you build a lot of relationships by doing stuff like this. And I'm sure that it's much different in the job world. But anyways, I found that I got a lot of nuggets and skill set under my belt from being an entrepreneur all my life. And you have to work, you're making your money, right? It's not like somebody's paying you. You just got to get up, and you have to have disciplines and stuff. And a lot of people don't have that discipline because they go to the job and they're just being told what to do. And then they come into network marketing, is all of a sudden it's like a free army, right? You're independent, but you're also interdependent. So there's certain things that you need to learn and skills that you need to learn, but that will come. It will always come. If you keep moving forward, there's always something new to learn. I'm finding that more than ever, especially since the pandemic. There's so many things to learn, to apply to our type of profession. So, and it's exciting. It's exciting to learn something new and to feel that confidence around it. Because now it's funny, you know, my kids, they'll have their phones with them and I'll be doing something. Oh, how do you do that? And I'm doing it, right? So it's like, yeah, I did it. And they didn't know how to do it. So it's kind of fun. So, you know, it's go out there and practice and do things that are going to get you out of your comfort zone, because that is what's going to build the confidence for you to have that posture to do whatever on social media, go out and do things in networking and building your business, because network marketing is about networking. You network and then you're marketing something, whether it's a product or a service. So our paycheck is built on people consuming products, right? If people are not consuming the products, there wouldn't be a business. So when you network and build a network, that's many people consuming products. And they're out there every single day networking and doing the same thing, marketing and getting many people consuming products. And when you have many people out there doing it, then that's when you start to reach statuses in our business. And of course, it's not so much the ranks, but the leadership levels that you get into is phenomenal. So it all begins with you. You know, looking in that mirror every day, knowing that you can do this. Every single one, as I look at all of you that are on the Zoom session, I know every single one of you quite well. And some of you for many, many, many years. And I know that every single one of you is capable of building this business. Every single one of you are capable. It's a decision that you need to make every single day. And I'm telling you, it's every single day you need to make that decision, because it's so easy to get comfortable. And I know that all of you know what I'm talking about. We all do it. It's so easy not to do. So it's every day you have to retrain your brain in the morning. Every single day you need to do this. And when you get to certain levels, then everything changes, the vision changes, everything changes because it's more about the people. At the beginning, it's training yourself more than anything. All right. So I
So
don't
the
know.
topic on selling, yes, and you're absolutely correct. I mean, a topic on selling and becoming a more effective seller. You know, understand one thing. If you're not selling, you're not serving. And, you know, let's think about that. If you're not selling, you are not serving. And it's the mindset. And here's how I feel when I share this opportunity. Love what you do so much that you feel bad when people do not get involved. I'm serious. I actually feel bad for these people. I know what we have. I know the benefits that we've had. I know the folks that actually have followed the guidelines and the teachings and they've got the results. I know how their lives have been impacted if they stay the course. And I actually feel bad for them. So when I talk to them about the opportunity, it kind of comes across. It's not out of pity at all. It's just, my mindset is, do you understand what it is I'm sharing with you here? Because this is a very big deal. You see, my posture is very, very different than most because this is how I feel. So these are things that will occur to you as you build a belief. But I understand that the belief comes in when you start getting the results. And to get the results, you got to go through the failures. But the thing, folks, and here's the thing, failures, I want to repeat this, is part of the process. It's a blessing. Don't step back when you fail multiple times in a row, even if it's years in a row. Stay the course. You heard me say this often. I see so many people that have evolved so much, but they never stay the course. They always deviate. And every time you deviate, you have to start all over. Just think of a plane. You've used that before. Imagine the plane cannot take off if there's enough momentum to push it up in the air. So the fact here is if you start and then deviate, stop, and you start, you can go on for 10 years. The plane will never take off because you got to stay the course and push a little until the wind is strong enough to push the plane up and climb. And this is how the opportunity works. So the fact here is that, you know, the love for what you do will impact your results. And also people want to know if you understand them. That's why when people are telling you their story and they're sharing their pains and successes and desires, pay attention. Be careful to always have the agenda to make sure they understand the plan. I'm talking from experience. I've always been eager and, you know, to show people the plan and then everything else. I see the bit. And when I was, you know, younger and less mature and, you know, I didn't pay as much attention. So I had to work twice as hard, where today I don't work as hard, but I get twice the results because I get a feel for what this person desires. And in 5 minutes, I can tell if I'm wasting my time. 5 minutes, I can tell. Now, I could be wrong, but generally I can tell. But I will pay attention to what they're telling me and what they're sharing. And from that point on, if I see that there is genuine interest there, I will dedicate time to make sure that they get what they need. So people want to know that you understand them. And if you want to sell, enter in a conversation with what your prospect is expecting to hear. So what am I saying? Well, we know that we're dealing in an environment of consumers. What does consumer think about? How much is it going to cost me? Is it going to work? Typical. So at the end of the day, I will spend time in explaining the product. I will spend time explaining. That's why the presentation starts with a little bit of the background, a little bit of the science. We talk about the product, because if you start with the opportunity, when the 80% of people are spenders, they're not entrepreneurs, they're spenders, you need to shift their mindset. That's the reason why we do that. So I'm not saying not to talk about the product. The product is really important. In fact, it's the reason why we're in business. What I'm saying is not having a balance where it's all about product, knowledge, and disease and stuff and this and that and whatever. It's wonderful, but at the end of the day, they need to pay for these products, and they need to justify the time to talk about this kind of business, to be interested, genuinely interested. And for that, you need the opportunity. So
you know what? Often we think that people are looking for something or want certain things because that's the way we feel. Be careful with that one. Because one of the things that I like to do is, I like to ask people what's most important to them, healthy products or earning income. Because that's what I'm going to know right away where my conversation is going with these people. You got to learn to ask questions and don't feel bad about it. There is a yes or no answer, you know. What do you prefer? Yeah, I prefer my health is number one. Great. And then you can, you know, talk a little bit about the products, but don't run from the opportunity. Just say, you know, this opportunity has impacted so many people's lives because somebody got a health benefit. And because of that, they wanted to share with their friend. They wanted to share with some family members. They wanted to share with some coworkers what this product has done. And because of that, they sign these people up who are now impacting thousands of people's lives, because one of them is building in this international market. One of them's doing this, one of them's doing that. And none of this would happen, you know, if the opportunity is not spoken about. You guys get this? You want to impact people's health? You got to talk about the opportunity, because the opportunity is going to allow people to earn income to be able to consume, number one, because we all know consumption, like groceries are freaking expensive. Lifestyle is expensive. And if you go out there and just talk product, science, and I've got products that are not so great in my cabinet and I'm struggling financially, sorry, you're not going to sell me a product. I'm being straight up. I want money because my family needs to eat. Show me an opportunity. In fact, that there's amazing products makes it even easier, right? But you have to understand that when you're talking to the many.
Tammy, I'm going to share my phone.
We're so passionate about the science, which is really great, because we all know what we have in our hands. They don't, you guys. They're counting their bills right now. You know, they're counting their money. They're working their budgets around their groceries. They're doing certain things. Yes, there's some people that are doing well. Those are the ones that are going to buy a bunch of products, but that's not the majority. So think about that when you have conversations with people. Get to know them. Because when you don't get to know people, it's not going to be as easy to bring people into this business. That's why
I totally agree.
For me, for social media, I think it's great that we're doing all this stuff. But if you don't have conversations with them after you do a post, you know, if they like your stuff, you just start creating conversations. If there's no conversations that take them off the platform, or at least bring them to that link tree for them to purchase something that can take you to another conversation. And so you can follow through with them as they consume the products, which can lead to who do you know that can benefit from this? I mean, you're not in business. So you have to decide whether you want to build this as a business or sell products. And if you're focused on selling products, remember, our products are quality, high-end, not inexpensive products. they're value-based products.
So Tammy, if we can shift over to the screen right now, for the sake of time here, and you're absolutely dead on. And I really appreciate what you just shared, because you're absolutely correct. You have to make a choice. And we're not telling you one is better than the other. I know most people want to earn an income and they want to increase their income, especially now. I'm listening to my daughter freaking out because of gas, cost her like $100 and something to fill her car when it used to be 60, 70. It's tough. I say, well, daughter, you know what we can do together. It's up to you. Right. But I'm just teasing. But the fact here is there's a compensation plan section on the board that was recently added. May I suggest that you go in there and walk yourself through some of these files? And it brings us to kind of the end of our point here is study the ins and out of the max plan. The math is it's what, 12-year-old math? I mean, it's 12-year-old math. It's not hard math. It's just to understand the logic. And some of these trainings will help you understanding the logic of the compensation plan. And that's what's important here. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. And the other thing that's also important to keep in mind is I want to also emphasize the presentation itself. Where are you? There you go. So if you go back to the presentation, where I know that many of you are aware of now, why are we talking about this slide? I just want to bring some attention to this, because there is a certain logic here that occurs when people listen. We are trying to create some familiarity with where the giants of our economy today are, and many of them are not here. But what they all have in common, they do business utilizing the internet and to create networks. That's where the money is. What does Facebook sell? Nothing. We are the products of Facebook. And we are the reason why Facebook makes billions of dollars through their ads that we're watching. Same thing for YouTube. Same thing for Google. Some of the most powerful tool in the world. So they create networks. That's why the presentation reflects that, so we can understand the analogy. And then we get into, what does Max do? We have networks, and we have an entity, which is a company, who provides the products and the goods that will compensate the person who will bridge the gap from the potential customers. That's what we are. And by doing this, we're creating a network around us of mind-like individuals that have a common goal, that are part of a network connecting each other, sharing information. That's the reason why the income is possible. And the people who will earn this income are not the people that are singularly building this business by selling products individually, are people that are creating networks of people interested in talking about these products. That's where the future is. That's where the money is. So understanding the philosophy and the mindset and understanding the logic of what we do and having a positive posture around this information will change your outcome completely, where you will have associates in your team that will vary from anywhere from 0 all the way up to what you see here, the 40,000 a month. And I'm not saying you're going to earn 40,000 a month. This is the chain, the ladder from the beginning to the top. And you can earn a percentage of each of those individuals that are actually growing their businesses by helping them building networks. It's 100% legal. We pay our taxes. I contribute to my Canadian economy like crazy. And what's interesting is the product is coming from abroad. It's not coming from Canada. It's some, but the bulk is coming from international. Wouldn't that be awesome if we can really grow this network in Canada by helping folks understanding the potential? Yes, you will have some resistance. It's part of the process, but you will succeed based on your posture and the way you position yourself around the opportunity. So in
North
short,
America, Chris, because I mean, they're two massive markets. You look at Max, it's a US based company. And there's over what, 300 million people
mhm.
in the US, 30 million in
Well, the
Canada.
US is one of the most powerful economy in the world. There's no question,
It's-
right? Canada is a tenth of the United States.
Yeah,
But when you look in proportion, we're pretty much the same. But the fact here is the potential is massive, absolutely massive. And Canadians and Americans need this stuff. But we need leaders, influencers, people that are going to go outside of the comfort zone to let people know about the potential and the possibilities. And this happens in the Philippines. This happens all over Africa. You see Kenya right now, they're in momentum. It's brand new. There's activities going on in Canada, excuse me, in Ghana, Nigeria. So the fact is there's so much going on, but I'd like to end with this as we end this call. See, often I make an analogy, and I know often you hear me say that in the presentation. Often I tell people that we are consumers, and we are consumers telling other consumers. And again, not to offend or disrespect the fat cats, but we do need Walmarts, and I mean, they're wonderful. But instead of always relying on the fat cats and getting the goods that we need, what if we rely on ourselves, sharing this through our network of people that we've gathered over the years? And instead of feeding the fat cats, the consumers that are the one that are consuming the product, telling other people about it, benefits. That's what we do in a nutshell. So often when I share things like that, it's interesting, but it creates a certain reflection. I can see people's body language absorbing this stuff and agreeing and actually smiling on the fact. I kind of like the fact that it's not, it's not always about the fat cats, but it's the little consumers multiplied hundreds of millions of times. That's the power of network marketing. That's what I see when I look at my business. And when I talk to a negative relative or a negative friend or a negative thing, for me, it's like, oh my God, you got to learn what this is all about. Do you know what you're looking at? Do you understand what this is? Do you see the potential? There's a shift in our economy today. That's where the money is going towards. People who build networks. Get in the front line, start now, because I'm telling you, that is the future. That's the posture I have when I speak with people. And when I present the opportunity, you often heard me incorporate what I just shared with you in different variation, sharing the exact same thing to help people see the big picture, to overcome the negativity, the stigma associated on the misconception and the uninformed understanding of what we do for a living. And that's how you make money in this kind of business.
And the posture
So that comes to the end for me, Tammy, if you want to.
Yeah, the posture will come if you put efforts into this. And those of you who are investing in yourselves and doing little courses here and there, Eric Worre is really great. Fraser Brooks is doing some stuff. I know some of you are following some of his stuff a little bit. And, learn from other people as well, because often you're going to hear the same thing, but it might be said in a different way. And it's like, it clicks, right? We all know that. We all take courses. And the key is not just to take a course. Learn a segment, go apply it. That's the key to success.
Agreed.
Don't be a lifetime learner if you're not going to apply it into network marketing, because I know tons of people who have been in this industry for a long time, never made any money, but man, they got all the books, they got all the notebooks and all kinds of notes, and they haven't taken that into action to build their network. The best way to learn is experience. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
That is the best way to learn, is to get out there, learn a little bit, get out there, and that's the real meat and potatoes.
That's a fact. So everybody, that comes to the end of our session this evening. Thank you so much for attending. I hope this information helped you kind of give yourself a different perspective or get a different perspective on the opportunity. Okay, the call will be uploaded by tomorrow, and we want to thank you for attending again. If there's any comments or any feedback, anything you need, you can reach us. Many of you, we talk on a regular basis. Feel free. And you know what I would love for you guys to do? Once you see the video posted on YouTube, it would really be helpful if you commented on it, right? I know you don't feel like you have to, but if you feel compelled, you like the training, there's a certain component that you liked. If you happen to be on Facebook Live here, guys, thank you for all your likes and everything else. It's wonderful. Hey, Barry, how are you? It really helps the channel. It helps people kind of getting a better understanding. And when you comment and everybody gets their feedback, it gets part of the what's the word that it's being used in social media? I don't have the wording, the vocabulary to express it, but it's the algorithm, right? It attracts more people, and it gets more people, because those social environment media, they turn around and says, oh, there's an interest here. Let's make sure we keep. And what's happening here is we're educating more people. And it could be some information that could be very helpful for your new associates, or an associate. Maybe it's been dormant for a while, or they're procrastinating for whatever reason. There might be segments. And some of you are clever. You can download the video, you can copy a little segment, you can do a little Instagram segment of that, and then add your point things, add your comments, be creative. So this is the kind of thing that can really help you, and it helps also the whole program as a whole, and it helps the country, kind of creating some attraction on what we do, which in turn will benefit you. So that's correct, Jasmine, engagement. So thank you, everybody. Have yourself a wonderful evening. And Jas, I hope things are nice in Mexico. And I hope you're enjoying your time over there. And I believe you're in Mexico, right? You are? Give me a thumbs up if you're in Mexico. I think you are, right? Okay, you're frozen there. I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So Mexico's coming. So get ready. Let people know, because I'm telling you, it's happening soon. Okay. So everybody, have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you again. And good night. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Night, everyone.
Bye-bye.